A good late afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Sade here. You're watching Kalkine TV live from Sydney. And let's get on with the last show of the day, the last trade, wherein we'll discover all the latest market action from the local bourse and beyond. So what are we waiting for? The S&P ASX200 closed up Tuesday, gaining 62.80 points or 0.86% and crossing above its 20-day moving average. The top performing stocks in this index were NANOSONICS up 7.63% and PALADIN ENERGY up 5.70%. The index has lost 0.32% for the last 5 days but sits 3.64% below its 52-week high. And let's now look at what drove the markets today. The share market shrugged off weak leads and record COVID numbers in New South Wales as robust consumer confidence data suggested Australians were learning to live with Omicron, and the Prime Minister ruled out further lockdowns. Stocks crept higher after a gauge showed consumer confidence successfully weathering the recent surge in COVID cases in New South Wales. The Australia and New Zealand Banking Group's confidence index improved 0.4% last week to 108.4 for a third straight gain. Confidence in New South Wales jumped 4.5%. And moreover, Prime Minister Scott Morrison this morning said the nation had to move from government mandates to personal responsibility. He said that we are not going to back lockdowns and not shutting people's lives. Importantly, the minutes from this month's Reserve Bank meeting showed the board recognised the threat from Omicron but did not anticipate a major impact on the economy. The minutes said that the emergence of the Omicron variant was a new source of uncertainty, but it was not expected to derail the recovery. Coming back to the markets now, the electric vehicle and lithium stocks plunged on the ASX today after US President Joe Biden's $2 trillion stimulus plan under the Build Back Better identifier failed to get enough indicative support in the US Senate. The planned legislation earmarked heavy subsidies for the US electric vehicle and green energy industries. Popular green energy and lithium plays on the local market took a bath in response. And Novonix was down 4.8%, Pilbara Minerals was down 11.6% and Vulcan Resources was down as well, 4.5%. Liontown Resources was down 3.2%. And now let's look at the ASX-listed companies that were in the news today. Shares in online meal delivery business Marley Spoon jumped 17.3% to 81.5 cents. It announced the acquisition of Melbourne-based ready meal business Chef Good for an initial $21 million. Earn-out clauses could add another $5.6 million to the deal's costs over the next 2.5 years. And Marley Spoon said it would fund the deal by an $8 million share placement at $1 per ASX-listed CDI, which is equal to about 43% premiums to its last closing price of 69.5 cents. Shares in the $2.3 billion pre-revenue biotech Imugene are down 6% to 39.5 cents this morning and down about 24% since December 13th. It revealed its founder, Paul Hopper, had sold 75 million shares on market. And on Monday, it revealed director Charles Walker had sold 7.76 million shares on market on December 15th for prices between 52 cents and 54.2 cents per share. Mr. Walker has now sold shares on market twice in 2021, and the biotech has yet to get any of its potential cancer treatment products into phase 3 stage clinical trials. Despite today's falls, Imugene shares have soared 300% higher in 12 months. The ASX-listed telecommunication service provider Flexiroam announced that it has extended its global data plan partnership with MasterCard, covering the calendar year 2022. The extended contract continues to operate on regular commercial terms and will also pay $250,000 to the company for purchasing data, which are offered to cardholders as a reward. And on the other hand, the unused data from 2020 and 2021 will expire on the 31st of December 2021. And on the ASX, the Flexiroam stock was spotted trading at 4.65% lower, reaching 0.041 Australian dollars per share. Pilbara Minerals shares slumped 8.5% on Tuesday after the lithium miner cut guidance for lithium spodumene concentrate production over the December quarter and financial year 2022. It now expects to ship 85,000 to 95,000 tonnes of spodumene concentrate over the December quarter versus prior guidance of between 90 to 115,000 tonnes. Total shipped tonnes are now expected to reach between 380 and 440,000 tonnes in financial year 2022. Memphasis announced that it has reached a significant milestone with the first commercial sale of the Felix TM system. A women's centre in Coimbatore, India, has ordered a Felix TM system for use in their IVF centre. And moreover, Memphasis specialises in bioseparations and reproductive biotechnology. And on the ASX, Memphasis was trading at 0.094 Australian dollars. And we've reached the time for a short break, but please stay with us. We'll be back with more.
Boarding pass, please. Hi, I'm Holly Shields and I'll be your host for Kalkine TV's new show, Travel Insights. Tune in to get the latest developments in the travel and tourism space, from updates on restrictions to travel guides to info about recreation and outdoor activities, or tour guides to the financials of the sector. Though the travel industry has been hit hard from the pandemic, there is still potential left for a revival on the back of economic upturn and COVID-safe travel measures. So if you want to know where the travel and tourism space is heading, dust off your passports, pack your bags, and watch Travel Insights every Monday exclusively on Kalkine TV.
Welcome back. This is your host, Sage. And shocking news coming in. More than a third of Australia's largest listed companies have poor modern slavery disclosures, indicating they don't understand the risks in their supply chains, according to a new report. And Monash University researchers analysed the quality of 239 modern disclosure statements from ASX200 companies introduced after Australia created new laws to root out the problem, and graded each disclosure between A and F in a report published today. Fail grades were assigned to 36% of companies according to the report, while only 6 companies were given a top mark. And Fortescue Metals Group and Wesfarmers were among the nation's leaders, while NANOSONICS and InvoCare were among the worst, the report said. And now, before we wrap up the show, let's take a look at why the global merger and acquisitions activity has smashed records and topped $7.9 trillion this year. New data shows global merger and acquisitions activity over the past 12 months totalled $7.9 trillion Australian dollars, smashing previous all-time records. According to figures from the technology company Dealogic, merger and acquisitions activity increased by 63% in 2021 to smash the pre-global financial crisis record of $6.2 trillion Australian dollars in 2007. And among the biggest deals inked throughout the year are AT&T's planned merger of Warner Media and fellow entertainment business Discovery for $60.4 billion Australian dollars. In Australia, the biggest acquisition was Afterpay's $39 billion sale to US fintech Block, formerly known as Square. The deal looks set to be completed shortly, with Block shareholders signing off on the biggest acquisition in Australian history. And more recently, the healthcare giant CSL announced it would buy Swiss-based pharmaceutical company Vifor Pharma for $16.4 billion. And with that, that's a wrap, folks. Hope you found the market closing commentary informative, but we will be back tomorrow live from Sydney at about 9:30 in the morning with the first report on the pre-market scenario, along with the important updates from the global markets to prepare you for your day of trading. But that's all for now. Take care and stay safe. Sage signing off.